Have you ever felt a special energy between you and a woman, but weren't sure if she felt the same way? Or perhaps you've noticed that whenever you're near her, there's a subtle tension, an attraction that's hard to put into words. These feelings can be hard to recognize immediately, especially when you're not exactly sure what you're looking for. But if you pay closer attention, you'll realize that women often show their attraction not just through words, but through small gestures. For many people in adulthood, especially those who have lived through the years, attraction in relationships is still very important. But as we get older, we tend to pay less attention to these signals, particularly when it comes to subtle and delicate actions. That's why recognizing these actions doesn't just help you understand someone else's interest, but it's also a way for you to connect and nurture new relationships, especially in later stages of life. In today's video, we're going to explore how a woman shows her attraction to you without saying a word. We'll examine very subtle signs, from touching her hair to sly glances, and how you can recognize when she's genuinely interested. These signals not only help you better understand the emotions of the other person, but also help you build deeper and more authentic relationships. Let's start with one of the most noticeable signs, though it carries a much deeper meaning than you might think: hair. Have you ever noticed that when a woman feels a special connection with someone, she often tends to adjust her hair? This may seem simple, but in reality, it contains very clear signals that she wants you to notice. Imagine this. You walk into the gym, and as soon as you step through the door, you see her, the one you've been eyeing, suddenly smooth her hair, even though it's not messy at all. She doesn't say a word, but this action holds a very powerful meaning. This is a sign that women unconsciously use to attract your attention. She doesn't need to speak, but this action clearly shows that she wants you to notice her presence. We may not recognize it immediately, but this hair adjustment is not unconscious. It's her way of preparing you for her appearance, a signal that she's saying, "I'm here, and I want you to pay attention to me." Touching her hair is not simply a self-grooming action. It's her way of tidying up when she senses someone's attention. Scientific studies also show that hair touching is a subconscious action that helps women feel more confident when they want to draw attention. According to Dr. Michael Cunningham, a psychologist at the University of Louisville, these actions not only reflect self-care, but are also a very clear signal that she wants to connect with the person she's interested in. So this can happen anywhere, from casual encounters like a conversation at the gym to more special situations like a date or even a simple work meeting. No matter where it is, this action always carries a powerful message: I want you to notice me. Eye contact is also one of the most important signals to recognize a woman's interest in you. Imagine you're sitting at a cafe, enjoying a peaceful morning, but suddenly feel like someone is watching you. You turn around and she immediately looks away, a very common but extremely subtle action. These quick glances aren't accidental. They are a strong signal she's sending to you, saying, "I'm paying attention to you." Unlike staring at you, these furtive glances are often a natural reflection of the attention she's giving without wanting to make you feel uncomfortable. Women, especially those who are strongly attracted, often don't want to show their interest too directly to avoid putting pressure on the other person. They understand that a subtle, not too abrupt glance is an effective way to show attention without making the other person feel pushed into an uncomfortable situation. The feeling when you catch that gaze is truly special. And when you realize she's looking at you, don't rush to look away or avoid eye contact. Instead, respond with a gentle smile. It's a way of acknowledging that you've noticed her, but also creating a silent connection. When you do this, you're asserting that you don't feel any pressure, but simply offering a quiet greeting that's incredibly powerful. These glances can occur throughout the conversation, or they may just be fleeting looks that you happen to catch. However, these glances are not accidental. They are subtle signals women use to communicate their interest. And if you respond cleverly, you'll begin to feel a gradual connection building between the two of you. Now, let's move on to another factor women often use to express attraction, and that is eye contact. Have you ever felt like someone was staring at you, but when you turned around, she immediately looked away? This is a very clear signal of attention, and it's certainly not random. When you catch these quick, furtive glances that repeat, it's her way of sending a very strong message. I'm paying attention to you. According to studies from the University of California, when someone feels attracted, they often can't help but direct their gaze toward that person unconsciously. Specifically, eye contact is how women show their interest without needing to speak. It's like a silent language that you can recognize if you know how to observe. These furtive glances aren't accidental. They're a way for her to communicate her attraction without saying a word. When you notice this, don't rush to look away or feel awkward. Instead, try responding with a natural, soft smile. A small smile will feel like a silent greeting and will help you create a gentle connection without adding any pressure. This is a way to respond without making her feel embarrassed or self-conscious. Eye contact is the window to the soul, and when you see interest in her eyes, try to respond by maintaining eye contact. That's how you create a deeper connection. Psychologists explain this very clearly. Dr. Monica T. Miller, a professor of social behavior at the University of Arizona, states that eye contact is one of the most powerful ways to show interest in a relationship. Eye contact can create a connection that words cannot replace. It's a nonverbal signal, but it can communicate so much about the emotions and attraction a person feels. And it's not just eye contact. Another thing women often do when they're attracted is laugh more. You may notice that whenever you speak, she laughs loudly, even when your story isn't particularly funny. This is a very common phenomenon, and in reality, it might make you feel a little strange. You might wonder, why is she laughing so much? My story wasn't that special. But rest assured, this isn't faking it. In fact, when women are attracted, they tend to exaggerate their emotional responses, especially laughter. This is entirely natural. When women feel comfortable and at ease with someone they're interested in, laughter becomes a way of expressing comfort and closeness. A study from Harvard University shows that when a person feels attracted to someone, they not only respond emotionally but also reflect that emotion through behavior, like laughing louder, laughing more, or even laughing without a clear reason. This is how women unconsciously use laughter to draw the person they're interested in closer, creating a connection without having to express attraction directly. A man I know shared that his female colleague always laughed really loudly whenever he told a story, even if it wasn't funny. At first, he thought she was just trying to be polite, but then he realized that this was her way of expressing interest and attraction toward him. This can be a clear sign of attraction that you can easily notice if you pay close attention. So, the next time you catch those glances or notice her laughing more than usual, don't hesitate to respond. Sometimes, a gentle smile or a quick glance back could be all that's needed to naturally and comfortably build a connection. These signs are not just exaggerated emotional responses. They are unconscious ways for her to draw closer to you. Perhaps you've experienced a situation where a woman unexpectedly touches your arm while you're telling a story. At first, you might think it's just a friendly gesture, nothing special. But in reality, sometimes this is the first step in establishing a subtle connection. Light touches like these, or adjusting your clothes, or even organizing your belongings, are clear signals, even though they may seem harmless or unnoticed. In reality, they are unconscious but purposeful actions, ways in which women break physical boundaries without having to say a word. Touching you like this isn't accidental. According to Dr. Deborah L. Tallman, a sexual psychology expert at New York University, touching is a powerful way to build intimacy and connection without the need for words. When women feel attracted to someone, they often use physical actions like this to build a sense of safety and create opportunities for closeness. This is not just friendliness, but sometimes a signal that she feels comfortable and wants to close the distance between you two. Pay attention to the frequency and context of these actions. If it's just the two of you and it happens multiple times, that's a sign you shouldn't overlook. When she touches you, whether it's a light touch on your arm, shoulder, or even a gentle adjustment of your clothes, you may sense that a special connection is forming. This isn't random. It's her way of building intimacy and creating space for the relationship to develop without saying specific words. Another sign that she's truly interested is when she accidentally appears around you, even in places you wouldn't expect her to be. This can be very noticeable. For example, you might be out eating with friends and she appears there even though she hadn't planned it. Or when you share your schedule for the coming week, she asks about your plans or even suggests, "We should do something together." This is a clear sign that she's trying to build a stronger connection with you, even if she hasn't directly said so. Research from Harvard University suggests that when women feel attracted, they unconsciously try to cross paths in their schedules with the person they're interested in, whether through casual conversations or unplanned meetings. This not only shows interest, but is also a way for her to find opportunities to get closer to you through very subtle but meaningful actions. And sometimes, this can help build a lasting relationship, even when it hasn't been verbalized. Finally, one very important sign you cannot miss when a woman is truly attracted is the synchronization of her actions with yours. This is what we call mirroring. If you're not familiar with the term, mirroring simply means when someone unconsciously imitates the actions, gestures, or even speech of the person they're interested in. Sounds interesting, right? That's because when someone truly cares about you, they tend to mimic your actions to create a nonverbal connection. A simple example you may encounter in daily life. When you change your sitting posture, she naturally adjusts her position to match yours. You might sit upright, and soon after, she does the same. Or when you say something, she tends to repeat the words you just said, maybe a short comment or a question. This isn't a coincidence. It's a sign that she's feeling empathy and a deep connection with you. Scientific studies have proven that mirroring is a natural response in relationships where people feel close. Dr. Tanya Chartrand, a psychologist at Duke University, explains that mimicking someone else's actions is not only a way to build connection but also a sign of understanding and empathy. When two people start to sync physically, their emotions gradually align as well. This helps establish a strong foundation for the relationship because it feels like you and the other person share a unified connection, not just physically but emotionally. For example, in a conversation with a woman you feel attracted to, you might notice that she starts adjusting her behavior to match yours. You might change your sitting position from a relaxed one to a more serious posture, and she immediately follows suit. Or you might laugh naturally when talking about something, and she laughs along, reflecting your emotions. This is how mirroring works. And it's a clear sign that she's not just paying attention to you, but is also feeling a strong connection with you. A real-life example comes from a man named John, an office worker in New York. He shared that during a meeting with a colleague named Lisa, whenever he changed his sitting posture, she would do the same. At first, John didn't think much of it, but after a while, he realized this action happened so frequently it seemed strange. He started noticing that Lisa always mirrored his actions, as if she was unconsciously communicating with him through her body. Eventually, John realized that this was a clear sign of attraction. She was trying to build a connection and find a way to become closer. In conclusion, if you notice 3 or more of these signs, you may be facing a great opportunity to develop a relationship. However, don't rush. Remember, genuine interest is always the key factor in any relationship. Don't just focus on the outward signals, but pay attention to the feelings and the deep connection you and she are building together. Appreciate the signals she's sending and proceed slowly but surely. So, what about you? Have you ever noticed these signs from a woman? It could be at work, in social encounters, or in other situations. Share your story with me below. Who knows, we may discover more interesting things about human connections and how we can create more lasting relationships.